Hi there, welcome back to Learning Target. I can solve quadratics using any method. Okay, so you might not realize it, but we've been talking about quadratics for a little while now. And when we do, we're talking about ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0 or equals y. But the big key is the x squared is what makes it a quadratic. So we've learned various ways to solve this since about February. First way is to FOIL. So we're going to use this method if you see three terms, ax squared plus bx plus c, and a equals 1. Okay, so anytime you see like x squared plus 5x plus 6, we're going to think, hey, way long time ago, we set that equal to 0. We factored it into what multiplies to get that 6 that adds up to 5. We said, oh yeah, that's x plus 2 times x plus 3 equals 0. And then we set both parts of that equal to 0, and we got two solutions. The second method we worked on was the quadratic formula. So we're going to use this if you see three terms, ax squared plus bx plus c, and a not equal to 1. Okay, so make sure you put that in your notes. A is not equal to 1. So that's really important. So if you see something like 4x squared minus 8x plus 13 equals 0. All right, so this would look like it's impossible to FOIL. We can't FOIL this even if we used AC method. So we're going to say here's A equals 4, B equals -8, and C equals 13. And we'd plug it into the quadratic formula, which again I'm going to demonstrate. And then solving by undoing with square roots. So you'd use this if you'd see ax squared plus c or any set of parentheses. Okay, so for example, if you just saw like 4x squared equals 50, so that looks a little different than this, but ultimately it's the same. There's no b term, there's no bx, okay? Or if you saw like x minus 5 squared equals 75. Okay, so again, we don't see it using those three terms. So in this case, we're going to solve by undoing. Okay, so let's look at some examples of problems. So the first key is always simplify first by combining like terms if possible. So if we look at this first problem here, it doesn't look like any of our other problems, but first we need to get everything on one side. So I'm going to solve first by, hey, combining the 4x squared. So I'm going to minus 4x squared from both sides and minus 4x squared. So look at now 5 minus 4 is just 1x squared or x squared. Okay, I'm going to subtract 9 from the like term that's right here, minus 9. Okay, so I've got x squared minus 7x minus 8 equals 0. Okay, so now that's a much easier problem because I can see that this problem has three terms, 1, 2, 3, and a equals 1. So I'm going to try to factor that out. Does anything multiply to give us -8? that adds to negative 7. That would be x minus 8 times x plus 1 equals 0. Okay, so now do you remember what to do after this? Set both parts equal to 0. So x minus 8 equals 0, and x plus 1 equals 0. Okay, so add 8 minus 1. Okay, so x equals 8 and x equals negative 1. Okay, so that's pretty easy to do when a equals 1. Okay, over here I'm going to look at this problem, and I see, okay, this has a set of parentheses, so I'm going to just solve by undoing. So I'm going to draw my line. First thing I'm going to undo is this timesing by negative 2, so I'm going to divide by negative 2. So I bring down this whole thing, x minus 4 squared equals 22. Okay, so then solving, I'd undo the square ring by square root. So x minus 4 equals plus and minus 4.69. Okay, I'm not going to finish the entire problem. I hope that you do. But if you remember, this is going to be where we have two equations, and then I'll have you do the rest. My x minus 4 equals 4.69. Oh, 0. There should be a 0 there. And x minus 4 equals negative 4.690. Okay, so those two solutions there. Okay, here in the middle one, again, it doesn't look like any of our other problems, so I'm going to move everything to one side. I like to move it to the left. So I'm going to minus 2x. I would do that from here because those are the like terms. Then I'm going to add 7. I don't have anything to add it to on this side, so I'm going to just like write it up here. So on the right side, I've got 0 because those canceled. And over here, I've got negative 3x squared minus 7x plus 7 equals 0. Okay, so I'm going to use A, B, and C and plug it into x equals the opposite of B. Okay, so that'd be like negative 7 plus and minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. Okay, so we would simplify that and get our two solutions there. Okay, so again, looking at these, our options are factoring, so using FOIL, solving by undoing. Okay, so again, I'm going to highlight this here. Factoring is right here, solving by undoing, and quadratic formula are the three methods we have in our toolbox. So what I want you to do is just look at these, simplify them, and what method would you use to solve them? You don't actually have to solve them, but which way would you solve them and why? And bring it to class and ask any questions you have. Thank you.